Well, good morning. It seems that we've just lost the live stream on Facebook. Let's see if we can get that back. Apparently not. What do you know? Looks like the live stream this morning is going to be restricted initially to YouTube, and we'll have to upload on Facebook in a little while. As you can see, it's the day after New Year's Day, 2nd of January 2018. As you can see, I have my traditional audience of the security here, next level security services. One has to wonder if they're actually getting paid, seeing as Barclays Bank seem to be somewhat reluctant to throw any more money into Third Energy here. And of course, this is Barclays Bank trading as Third Energy, although trading is perhaps a little bit disingenuous because there's not much trade going on. And in fact, one has to say that it does look as though Barclays Bank are basically taking the proverbial. They are so late with filing the accounts. By all normal rules and regulations, Third Energy should now be dissolved as an operating entity. And although a number of Third Energy entities are now listed as dissolved, the two key ones, Third Energy Offshore Limited, and the two directors are, primary directors are Raslik Valland and John Dewar. And of course, these are exactly the same two directors as Third Energy UK Gas Limited, which is the company here, which is effectively the front for Barclays Bank to frack here at Kirkby Misperton. Now, the financial status of these two companies is pretty atrocious, really. Of course, they are part of a structure that is ultimately registered offshore to ensure that there is no UK tax liability. And ultimately, if they just want to walk away, that's exactly what they'll do. Well, both companies are now late filing their accounts, and Third Energy Offshore, the last time they filed was for the year ending 2015, which showed that the company was £40 million in the hole, a negative net worth of 40 million. And the company here at Kirkby Misperton, Third Energy UK Gas Limited, is reportedly minus 52 million in the hole. So these two companies are 90 million pounds in the hole and are once again late filing their accounts. So they should be dissolved. But that's a bit of a problem, isn't it, for the British government, trying to push its frack agenda, its unconventional gas agenda. But all is not well. And that is very, very clear, because that would be a bit of an embarrassment for the British government to have to announce that Third Energy had effectively been dissolved. And of course, no doubt INEOS is waiting in the wings to snap it up for the proverbial, 10 cents on the dollar, as it were. So we'll see what happens there. Meanwhile, of course, Greg Clark, the Secretary of State for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy, is gagging to be moved out of that job. It's very, very clear that Greg Clark does not have the stomach to sign off on this, and is going to delay it as long as he possibly can, in the hope that he's effectively moved out of the department and moved into another job. And as I've speculated for some time now, the likelihood is that he would even be prepared to take a spell on the back benches rather than have to put his signature to this first frack in the UK since the moratorium was lifted in December 2012. So if he's removed, who would be put in his place? Well, it doesn't really matter, does it? But I mean, the likelihood is that the British government, Theresa May, would be encouraged to put somebody with limited intellectual capacity, with limited ability to get to grips with the magnitude of what's at stake here, and simply get them to sign it off. And of course, if they could find somebody in their 70s who's at the very back end of their political career, then they can just be sacrificed on that basis. whereas Greg Clark, of course, being just 50 years of age, is very ambitious and knows fine well that this will be a massive millstone around his neck. So who are the likely candidates? Well, some have speculated that the local MP here, Kevin Hollinsnake, would be a candidate, but you know, that's unlikely. First of all, it would be a massive conflict of interests, and secondly, it's pretty unheard of that an MP that's only been in Parliament for 2.5 years is promoted to the level of Secretary of State. And frankly, I don't think Kevin Hollinsnake has the capacity to operate at that level. In fact, he's struggling really to even operate as you know, a local MP here. So I doubt that. So watch this space. Will it be Syed Javid? Again, massive conflicts of interests, because he, of course, has already overruled Lancashire County Council and given Quadrilla the permission to go ahead with their operation at Preston Road. Of course, they're massively behind schedule there due to their own incompetence. No surprise, of course, to those who have been watching this industry as it attempts to get a foothold here in the UK over the past 5 years or so. So it really is a case of watch this space. And you know, what we are witnessing is that we have a corrupt cabal in Westminster that is in the hock of the corporations, and you know, it does not for one moment represent the constituents that have effectively put those politicians into Westminster in the first place. So a lot to do. Keep the pressure on. Keep the pressure on Greg Clark. Keep the pressure on, you know, the Department of BEIS. Let's get those Freedom of Information requests in, asking why it is that the government seems to be making exceptions to Third Energy and not dissolving a company that is not only 90 million in the hole between the two entities, but is consistently late in filing its accounts, despite being literally probably the most scrutinised company in the UK. And if you want to find out more, as is always the case, please check it out for yourself. And you can find this information on Company Check, that's C-H-E-C-K, companycheck.co.uk. Go to the homepage there, punch in Third Energy, and you can see all of the Third Energy entities, and then, you know, click on financials and you will see the summary of their financial situation as it was last reported. So let's see what happens. And you know, Greg Clark, I hope that you are left in that job, because you know, this is really the acid test for you. You know fine well, because I'm sure, you know, you're a very smart lad, and I'm sure that you have called in all the evidence as to why this is such a political grenade, and you know very, very well that there is no way that this should be signed off. You know very well that this country does not have anything like the expertise to either conduct the fracks or to monitor it. And all the rhetoric about gold standard regulation is just that, pure rhetoric, and it's not even upheld, you know, on a daily basis prior to the fracks actually taking place. So let's see what happens there. Meanwhile, here at Kirkby Misperton today, some of the locals have organised an event here, a solidarity event, and I gather that the name of the event is Bring a Mate to KM8, and the whole idea is to encourage people to bring somebody up to KM8 that is a little bit sort of on the fence, as it were, towards fracking, and come and see for themselves what's occurring here, and come and meet with the people who have devoted their time and energy to trying to raise awareness of this, so that communities will make the right decision and resist this industry rolling into their community. And of course, if this is signed off, then the likes of iGas and INEOS will take it as a massive fillip to get rolling with their activities. And of course, iGas are looking to launch a double-pronged assault on the borders of South Yorkshire and Nottinghamshire at Tinker Lane and Misson Springs. And I know that there's a number of people heading out to Misson Springs today to see what's occurring there. So if you're in the South Yorkshire, Nottinghamshire area, then please head along to Misson Springs today. And if you're a bit further north, then come along here to Kirkby Misperton. It does look like the weather's going to roll in. It was red sky in the morning, shepherd's warning. Does look like there's some stuff rolling in, so wrap up warm. But you'll come and have an interesting day here. Meanwhile, of course, INEOS, who are trying to ride roughshod over not only the British government, but also the British people. So INEOS literally have the mentality, and of course this is Jim Ratcliffe's private fiefdom. They literally have the mentality that they can literally buy whatever it is they want. They can buy the politicians, they buy their super yachts, and as Jim Ratcliffe did after blackmailing the British government into giving him 134 million a few years ago, whilst launching an all-out assault on the trades unions at Grangemouth refinery. But they are looking to establish their sites again in a similar area: North Derbyshire, South Yorkshire, Woodsets, Marsh Lane and Hart Hill. And of course there is an injunction against any direct dissent or opposition to INEOS, but that is being challenged by Joe Corry and Joe Boyd, and it's really important that if you can help support Joe Boyd with his legal costs, then go to his crowd justice page. Just put in Joe Boyd crowd justice and you'll find his campaign to raise finances for his legal challenge. And this is absolutely crucial. I mean, obviously we challenge it in the courts, but then ultimately it will be challenged on the ground. And either 2018 is the year in which the British government actually recognises the will of the people, that there is no possibility of this industry becoming established in the UK, or there will be massive civil disobedience. And of course INEOS are trying to ride roughshod over this by getting Justice Morgan to rule in their favour. But of course what he's done is he's effectively completely ridden roughshod over Articles 10 and 11 of the Human Rights Act. And this has to be challenged. And it will be challenged in the courts, but it will also be challenged on the ground. And of course those who didn't see the article on Sunday in the Sunday Times, then you'll find it linked on pretty much all of the anti-fracking Facebook pages. And have a look at that article, because there it is, that Tom Pickering actually spelling out the arrogance of the company, that they're going to drill under the North York moors from well locations just outside the moors and establish literally hundreds of pads and well sites right across their licensed areas in the north of England. So, once again, this is yet another massive assault on the British public. And as I've said many times, it is so important that people do their own research. And I know that people are looking beyond fracking now, because they're realizing that if the government is prepared to lie, to deceive, to obfuscate over something like this, what else are they going to lie and deceive and obfuscate on? And people are actually shocked by how they've had the wool pulled over their eyes, in some cases for their entire lives. Because when you're living in such a beautiful part of the world, life goes on, you're taking care of the family, you're keeping a roof over the head, food on the table, and the state isn't impacting on you or your life. But now people are starting to realize that actually they're being assaulted with fracking, but what are other communities being assaulted with? And people are beginning to realize that actually this is a government that certainly does not have the best interests of the British people at the heart of its philosophy. So 2018, there's no way I'm going to predict that we can get through 2018 frack free. I'd love to think we can, and I know that the anti-fracking community is growing still at a phenomenal rate, and I know that the pressure that is being put on the British government to shut this down, the last remaining country within the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, the last remaining country to still leave a way open for this abomination to get a foothold. So it's going to be a very interesting year, but please let's recognize that ultimately it's up to each and every one of us. And I think my stock phrase for 2018, or at least this early stage of 2018, is going to be, please wake up, or you're going to wake up in a gas field. And if you want to take a look at what that is going to bring about, then you could do a lot worse than looking at my documentary, which is almost 3 years old now, called Voices from the Gas Fields. But it's arguably even more relevant today than it was when I released it in early 2015. But you can do your own research and look at the devastation, look at the impact on agriculture, on livestock, on human health, on soil, on the groundwater, and of course into the air that we breathe. And basically this does not have a single redeeming factor. And those who are still advocating that this industry should get a foothold, then they either haven't researched it, or they are simply greedy sociopaths who do not have the best interests of humanity at heart. And sadly, it does seem that you know, a significant chunk of people in the West have adopted this selfish philosophy, and it's no longer about community, it's no longer about mutual cooperation, it's about greed, and more fracking greed. So I'm fired up for 2018. I absolutely believe that it is the year that we can bring an end to this abomination, but it does need literally everybody to commit to finding at least a little bit of time to either help raise awareness or get out and support the burgeoning anti-fracking community. And who knows, you know, we may see something manifest out of the anti-fracking community that might help bring about some very real change in this country, the changes that we all know we need to see. So meanwhile, I hope you had a wonderful New Year's Eve. I hope you've fully recovered now, and that you know, it's a new year, it's a new opportunity, and it's an opportunity to get this shut down and stop the frackers from literally taking the piss. Thanks a lot, and I shall be back tomorrow at 8:30 AM, and hopefully we don't get another dump of snow, but hey, it's winter, so what do you expect? Thanks a lot, catch you later.